quarterback. And my father used to always tell me, Charlie, it takes a cool head to win a hot game. And as you know, we're in a hot game in our country. We have a leader with a cool head. His name is President Barack Obama. He is working hard for the middle class. He's working hard for Florida. He's working hard for America. And I can tell you, when I served as a Republican governor, you know, I'm not in that party anymore. They left me. When we needed help for our teachers, our police, and our firefighters, President Barack Obama was there for us. And now it's time for us to be there for him again. My friends, we are blessed. We are blessed to have this president who has such courage, and such strength, and such grace. He's under fire all the time, but he always has a smile. He has a wonderful heart. His beautiful wife. She prayed the other night. God bless her. It is my honor to introduce to you the leader Florida needs, the leader America needs. Ladies and gentlemen, our friend, our President Barack Obama.
Everybody's staying hydrated. Yes. And if you've been standing here a while, everybody falling out. I want to thank Charlie Crist for his introduction, for showing that the values that we're fighting for are not democratic values or Republican values. They are American values.
You want me to take a picture?
One of the finest senators in the country. Your Senator Bill Nelson here.
I'm getting it, don't worry.
One of the best members of Congress that we've got, Kathy Casper is here. And all of you are here.
Okay, now, this is what I not want to do. That's why I took everybody's emails. All right? I'll send it off to you. I got lots of them.
We just had our convention.
Can you see the president?
North Carolina.
Do it again.
Folks there tonight have been more welcome.
Take your countdown.
Michelle, what can I say? main goal when we marry is to improve our gene pool. That's why my daughters turned out good. Because you marry up. You marry somebody superior to yourself. And you beg them until they marry you. Persistence is the key. And then you got President Clinton, who made the cases. After he spoke, somebody sent out a tweet. They said, you should appoint him Secretary of Explaining Stuff. I like that. Secretary of Explaining Stuff. Although I have to admit, it didn't really say stuff. I did my best to lay out the stakes in this election because they are big stakes. Both sides have made their arguments now. And I know you had a lot of national Republicans in the neighborhood making their argument. We've made ours. So now you've got a big choice to make. And by the way, don't boo, vote. I believe this is the clearest choice of any time I've because it's a choice not just between two candidates or two political parties. It's a choice between two fundamentally different paths for America, two fundamentally different visions for our future. Now ours is a fight on behalf of that basic bargain that built the largest middle class in the economy the world has ever known. The bargain that says, if you work hard, it will pay off. The bargain that says, responsibility will be rewarded. And everybody's got a fair shot. And everybody does their fair share. And everybody plays by the same set of rules. To Washington, D.C. That's what we're fighting for. Basic bargain is why I ran for president in the first place. Because too many jobs were disappearing overseas.
All right.
Families were struggling to make the mortgage, to put food on the table. People were having to borrow just for day-to-day expenses, to fill up the gas tank. And over time, more and more of that debt built up. And then this whole house of cards kept tumbling down in the worst economic crisis, the biggest financial crisis since the Great Depression. And millions of innocent Americans lost their jobs, their homes, and their life savings. A tragedy that we are still fighting to recover from. Now, our friends at their convention, they were more than happy to talk about everything they think is wrong with America.
Yes, they were.
But they didn't say much about how they'd make it right. They want your vote.
That's right.
They don't want you to know their plan. And that's all they've got to offer is the same prescriptions they've had for 30 years. Tax cuts, got a few regulations, more tax cuts when times are good, tax cuts when times are bad. Tax cuts to help you lose a few extra pounds. Tax cuts to help your love life. Hey, somebody said it doesn't help. Try those tax cuts out. Now listen. Actually, it does help when you give it to folks who need it. That's why I've cut taxes for middle-class families. 18 times. But I don't believe, and you don't believe, that another round of tax breaks for millionaires is going to bring good jobs back to our shores. I don't believe that firing teachers or kicking students off of financial aid, students right here to this institution, help us compete with scientists and engineers coming out of China. After all,
We can beat them!
U.S. stuff loves
we really think it would make sense to roll back regulations on Wall Street. And somehow that's going to help small business women expand or laid off construction workers keep their homes? Let me tell you that. We have been there.
Yeah.
We've tried what they're peddling. It didn't work.
No, it did not.
We're not going back. The path I'm offering is quick,
It has to be clear.
I never have. Sometimes I ask people to go back to 2008 and look at what I said. I said this was going to take some time because the problem
You did.
has been building up for a long time.
Yes, you did.
Yes, you did.
That's on Wednesday night. It's going to take
Yes, we can.
more than a few years to solve challenges
still
that have been
can.
built up for decades. But let me tell you something. When our opponents say this nation is in decline,
Oh.
this is America.
Yes, is in
The best Americans in the world, and the best entrepreneurs in the world. We've got the best scientists, the best researchers, the best colleges, and the best universities. And ingenuity from every corner of the globe. So no matter what the naysayers may say for political reasons, no matter how dark they try to make everything look, there's not a country on earth that wouldn't gladly trade places with the United States. I'm here to tell you our problems can be solved and our challenges can be met. The path we offer may be harder, but it leads to a better place. And I'm asking you to choose that future.
Yes, sir.
I'm asking you to rally not just behind me, but around a set of goals for your country.
All day, all night.
Manufacturing and energy, in education and national security, in reducing our deficit. Real achievable goals that will lead to new jobs and more opportunity and rebuild this economy on a stronger foundation. That's what we can do in the next 4 years. And that's why I'm running for a second term. In case you missed it, 2 days ago, I want to repeat in very plain terms what goals I'm talking about. Number one, plan to export more products and outsource fewer jobs. After a decade of decline, this country has now created over 500,000 jobs in the last 2.5 years alone just in manufacturing. That's faster than any time since the 90s. We reinvented a dying auto industry that's back on top of the world. And now you've got a choice. More tax breaks to companies that are shipping jobs overseas, just like the other side is arguing for. Or we can start rewarding companies that open new plants and train new workers and create new jobs right here in Florida. We can help big factories and small businesses double their exports and create 1 million new manufacturing jobs in the next 4 years. You can make that happen. That's part one. Part two, I've got a plan to control more of our own energy.
What is it?
30 years of inaction. We raised fuel standards so that by the middle of the next decade, your cars and trucks will go twice as far on the gallon. That will save you money. It'll help the environment. We've doubled our use of renewable energy, and thousands of Americans now have jobs building wind turbines, long-lasting batteries. Today, the United States of America is less dependent on crude oil than at any time in nearly 2 decades. So we're moving to control our own energy the other side, they don't have a real plan. So you've got a choice between a plan that wants to just reverse the progress we've made or one that builds on it. And let me tell you, unlike my opponent, I'm not going to let oil companies write this country's energy plan. Change our coastline. Collect another $4 billion in corporate welfare from our taxpayers. We're not going to let them do that. We've got a better path.
You okay?
Yeah, I just falling.
Move your head to the right a little bit.
I'm trying to run in my heels.
Oh, okay.
I love getting on
To the
camera.
right.
Building homes and factories to waste less energy.
I'm sorry.
I can get pictures later.
Perfect.
Supply of natural gas.
He understands.
If you choose this path, we can cut our imports in half by 2020 and support more than 600,000 new jobs in natural gas alone. That's the second part of the plan. You want to hear the third?
Yes, sir.
I've got a plan to give more Americans a chance to gain the skills they need to compete. All right. Education. Gateway to opportunity for me and Michelle. It's the gateway to a middle-class life. For the next time, for the first time in nearly a generation, every state just about has answered our call to raise standards for teaching and learning.
That person must be.
Some of the worst schools in the country
Someone like
have been real gains in math and reading, including here in Florida. Millions of students are paying less for college today, including students here, because we took on a system that was wasting billions of dollars, giving student loan rates to lenders instead of directly to students. So now you've got a choice. We can gut education like these other folks were recommending. Or we can decide that in the United States of America, no child should have her dreams deferred because of a crowded classroom or a crumbling school. No family should have to set aside a college acceptance letter because they don't have the money. No company should have to look for workers in China because they couldn't find ones with the right skills. So help me recruit 100,000 math and science teachers in the next 10 years. Give 2 million workers the chance to learn skills at that community college that will lead directly to a job. And let's support colleges and universities to cut in half growth of tuition costs over the next 10 years. Higher education is not a luxury anymore. No. It is an economic necessity that everybody should be able to afford. You can go together. That future, if you're willing to move forward with it. Fourth. My plan, yeah, I've got four. 4 years. My plan would reduce our deficit without sticking it to the middle class. We're all concerned about the deficit. After 2 wars, 2 tax cuts that weren't paid for, we have a challenge that we've got to now deal with. Can't go back. Independent analysis shows that the plan I put forward $4 trillion. And I've already worked with Republicans to cut $1 trillion in spending. I'm willing to do more. We've got to make sure government is lean and programs that don't work, we've got to get rid of, so we can pay for the things that do. And I want to reform the tax code so that it is simple and fair. The wealthiest households to pay or higher taxes on incomes over $250,000. Keep in mind, that means if you're a millionaire, you still get a tax. You keep your tax bill for the first $250. But after that, you pay the same rate we had when Bill Clinton was president. The same rate when we created 23 million new jobs. Pay biggest surplus in history, and a whole lot of millionaires to boot. The reason that I want to keep tax cuts for middle-class families, but I don't need one, Mitt Romney doesn't need one.
Right.
It's because what happens when middle-class families, when teachers and construction workers and receptionists, and what happens when folks have a little money in their pocket?
They spend it. They go spend it.
And when they spend it, that means business has more customers. And that means business makes more profit. Which means business hires more workers. Who then spend more money. The whole economy gets stronger. Not from the top down, but from the middle out. That's how we do it.
You go, Obama! 20 minutes to move this thing.
Listen to my opponent's plan.
What is it?
Arithmetic. Remember, Romney and his allies tell us we can somehow cut our deficit by spending $5 trillion more on tax breaks for the wealthy. Well, you do the math. How's that going to work?
Fuzzy math.
Mr. Romney's plan and Congressman Ryan's plan don't add up.
That's right.
They just don't add
And
up.
by the way, they don't add the jobs either. They like to talk about how we're going to create more jobs. But economists who've looked at their plans say this would make the recovery slower, not faster. I refuse to let that happen. I refuse to ask middle-class families to give up their deductions for owning a home or raising their kids just to pay for another millionaire's tax cut. I refuse to ask all the students here to pay more for college. I'm not going to kick children out of Head Start programs or health insurance for millions of Americans who are poor, who are elderly or disabled. Also, those with the most can pay less. And by the way, folks, you should know I will never turn Medicare into a voucher system. No American should have to spend their golden years at the mercy of insurance companies. They should retire with the dignity and the respect and the care that they have earned. So yes, we will reform and strengthen Medicare for the long haul. That needs to be done, but we're going to do it by reducing the cost of health care, not by just dumping the cost on seniors and them to pay thousands of dollars. And while we're at it, we're going to keep the promise of Social Security by taking the responsible steps to strengthen it. And that's not by turning it over to Wall Street. Now, rebuilding the economy is essential, but everybody knows our prosperity at home is linked to what we do abroad. 4 years ago, I promised to end the war in Iraq.
And you did!
I said that we would begin to wind down the war in Afghanistan, and we are. A new tower rises above the New York skyline. Meanwhile, Al-Qaeda's on the path to defeat, and Osama bin Laden is dead. As long as I'm Commander-in-Chief, we will sustain the strongest military the world has ever known. And when our troops come home and take off their uniform, like this veteran right here, serve them as well as they have served us. Because no one who fights for this country should ever have to fight for a job or a roof over their heads. Or a care that they need when they come. My opponent has a different view. He said the way I entered the war in Iraq was tragic. He won't tell us how he'll end the war in Afghanistan. I have, and I will. And while he wants to spend more money on military programs that the Joint Chiefs don't even want, say it won't make us safer, I'm going to use some of that money that we're no longer spending on war to pay down our debt. People back to work, rebuilding schools and bridges, runways and roads, because after a decade of war, I think it's time to do some nation building. This is the choice that we face. This is what the election comes down to. Over and over, the other side spent all the time they had here in Florida saying that bigger tax cuts and fewer regulations are the only way. They kept on arguing over and over again that since government can't do everything, it should do almost nothing.
Damn.
Their basic theory is if you can't afford health insurance, hope you don't get sick. If a company releases toxic pollution into the air that your children breathe, well, that's just the price of progress. If you can't afford to go to college, take my opponent's advice, borrow money from your parents.
What if they're
You know what?
my parents are?
That's not who we are. That's not what America's about. America, we believe and insist on personal responsibility. We believe in individual initiative. We know we're not entitled to success. We've got to earn it. The businessmen and the strivers and the dreamers and the risk takers. We've always been the driving force behind our free enterprise system. The greatest engine of growth and prosperity that the world has ever known. But you know what? We also believe that this country only works when we accept certain obligations to one another, to future generations. We believe in the idea of citizenship. The idea that America is not just about what can be done for us, but what can be done by us. As one nation, as one people. That's what you believed 4 years ago.
Yes, it is.
I told you the election wasn't about me, it was about you. And as I look out on this crowd, I am reminded you were the change. Folks here in Florida from every walk of life. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American. Young, old, seniors across Florida are saving an average of $600 every year on prescription drugs because of Obamacare. By the way, I do care. I like the term Obamacare. Mr. Romney says he's going to repeal it, which means his plan is Romney don't care. You're the reason that a woman in Doral who's already working full time during the day can now afford to go to school at night because she's getting the financial aid that she needs. You're the reason there's a working family from Hollywood who was able to save their home from foreclosure. Keep their piece of the American dream. You made that possible. You're the reason a young immigrant who grew up here and went to school here and pledged allegiance to our flag will no longer be deported from the only country. Won't be kicked out of the military because of who they are or who they are. Thousands of families have been able to save the loved ones who serve so bravely. Welcome home. You're welcome. And if you turn away now, you buy into the cynicism that somehow the change we fought for isn't possible, of course change won't happen. Change won't happen without you. If you give up on the idea that your voice can make a difference, then other folks are going to fill the void. The lobbyists, the special interests, the people who are writing $10 million checks, the folks who are trying to keep people from voting, politicians who want to tell you who you can marry, tell women they can't have control over their own health care.
We love our women.
Only you can make sure that doesn't happen, Florida. Only you have the power to move us forward, but you've got to use that power. If you're not registered to vote, go to gottaregister.com. Got to, gotta, G-O-T-T-A. If you're not sure about how to vote, go to gottavote.com. Talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors, talk to your coworkers. Don't just talk to people who agree with you. Reach out to folks who don't follow politics that close. Talk to somebody who's undecided. Talk to some of your Republican friends.
I have Republican friends.
Talk to them about a vision for the future. It moves everybody forward, not just a few.
Trust me, I tried.
I'm asking for your help. So Florida, can you make some phone calls for me? Can you knock on some doors for me? Can you tell your friends and neighbors what's at stake? Will you register? Will you vote? We will finish what we started. We'll hire more good jobs. We'll generate more homegrown energy. We'll hire more great teachers. We'll send more young people to college. We'll bring home more troops. We'll take care of more veterans. We will open the doors of opportunity to everybody who's willing to work hard and walk through. We'll win this county.